On this darkest timeline where the gaming industry and overall circle is filled with closet pedophiles, masochists, misogynists, and abusers, it's always good to find a tiny distraction outside of this field to calm your nerves, which is what we're doing with this video feature, to touch on the other aspects of pop culture on the KKP. Movies, TV shows, anime, all that other stuff. We're focusing our list on films, new shows, and new seasons of existing shows that came out between January and the end of June. Sorry Hamilton and BNA. Whether they're in cinemas before the pandemic, on streaming platforms, or on television networks that also have their own streaming platforms, here are our top picks for the halfway point of this tumultuous and interesting year. This is Kakuchopurei's Best Films and TV Shows of 2020. Guy Ritchie, the director who made that stellar Aladdin remake, makes a triumphant return earlier this year with The Gentleman, a masterful and brilliant crime movie. The Gentleman is extremely funny and thrilling, with compelling characters and the giant ensemble cast boasting the likes of Matthew McConaughey, Henry Golding, Colin Farrell, and more. It's also got all the narrative twists and turns, red herrings and all, that you'd want in a crime movie like this. It's not on the same level as Snatch or Lock, Stock, but it's definitely a step up from Rock'n'Roller and Revolver. Need more H.P. Lovecraft adaptations in your life? You should check out Richard Stanley's adaptation of Color Out of Space. Nicolas Cage stars as a father, husband, and farmer who is trying his best to raise alpacas and grow tomatoes. A meteor crash lands on his family's rural property, and things go sideways from there. Color Out of Space is trippy, gross, slow-burning, and horrifying all at once. If you loved 1982's The Thing and 2016's The Void, you should not miss out on this thriller horror ensemble. What's the best way for a director to make his or her debut in the world of movie making? Make something you love that explores a familiar genre in a different perspective. That's what Andrew Patterson did with the retro sci-fi movie The Vast of Night. The premise and setup may sound familiar, but its execution and delivery is smart and mesmerizing. This is all thanks to dazzling tracking shots and artistically dim scenes, the authenticity of the setting, and the top-tier performances of its leads Sierra McCormick and Jake Horowitz.
So just the lights are already electric because we can't roll if it's flickering.
I don't know, I was at supper.
Sci-fi comedies are rare, and it's easy to see why. They're difficult to pull off. But the folks behind the hit series Veep did just that with HBO's Avenue 5. The show stars comedy giants like Hugh Laurie of medical comedy House fame, Star Trek Voyager alum Ethan Phillips, Josh Gad, and more. The plot revolves around the space cruise that's stuck in a many-year orbit, with its crew and passengers going nuts and trying to course-correct the situation with hilarious results. She-Ra and the Princesses of Power's final season is a testament to the brilliant work by showrunner Noelle Stevenson and the folks at DreamWorks Animation. They have managed to pack so much action, adventure, and complicated character dynamics into a total of 52 seasons in the span of only 2 years. Frankly, we couldn't have asked for a better conclusion. The best thing about the show has always been the way that it manages to convey the emotional complexity of its characters. Think the redemption arcs of Darth Vader in Star Wars and Zuko in Avatar: The Last Airbender. Back in 2003, Mark Millar's seminal comic book miniseries Superman Red Sun featured an intriguing premise. What if Kal-El/Superman's shuttle crash-landed in Soviet Russia at the height of communism as a baby, instead of Kansas in the good old US of A? The animated adaptation of Superman Red Sun answers those questions and captures the comic's core narrative and dilemmas to a T. It strives to prove that Superman fundamentally remains Superman at his core no matter the circumstances, whether that be under the flag of America, Russia, or any political entity/ideology. As adaptations go, we are A-okay with the nominal changes to fit the usual 1 hour plus animated runtime. The fictional semi-real portrait of what it's like to live under the roof of famed horror author Shirley Jackson, called Shirley, is creepy, surreal, and tense in all the right places. This is all due to the Invisible Man's Elizabeth Moss, who made a committed on-screen performance of the eccentric title character. If you ever wondered how Shirley added bits about the claustrophobia of small village life and female group treachery in her books, this movie will give you a visual insight that's about as accurate as it can get. It's been a while since we've had a sports underdog story a la Rocky and Creed. So where's 2020's entry? Welp, Gavin O'Connor and Brad Inglesby delivers with The Way Back. In this film starring Ben Affleck, the film team shows us how to do an uplifting underdog basketball team story without being a typical underdog basketball story. Have the focus be on the coach struggling with his path to redemption and battle against alcoholism. The fact that this mirrors Affleck's real-life drama and battle with his addiction makes his performance all the more personal and real. Plus all that swearing.
That's a ball, Sal.
Miss Zootopia? Wish it had an R rating? Then Beastars is your jam. Part of it is a love story between a tiny herbivore and a large-ass predator. The other part is a commentary on how two different races can coexist and how little things and some rule-breaking can lead to dissonance between the two as a whole. A few world-building issues aside, the animation and action beats make this 10-episode series worth tuning into. Even if you're not a fan of furries, the intriguing plot lines and dissecting of a close-knit society between carnivores and herbivores with some of the key players playing against their nature will keep you invested. How can you top the first season of a surprise animated R-rated cartoon featuring DC Comics' finest anti-heroine? In the case of Harley Quinn Season 2, you just have to add in more insane, batshit stuff, a riff on Under the Sea, and keep true to the Paul Dini and Bruce Timm vision of the titular character. Add in a natural progression and development between Harley Quinn and BFF Poison Ivy, and a few twists and turns that somehow even roped in Apocalypse and Darkseid of all settings and people, and you've got yourself an energy-filled follow-up. Maybe just add in more Batgirl, but apart from that, good show all around. If you want the full list of shows you should watch in 2020, head to the link below to check out our full article. As usual, do subscribe to us for more features like these. We post new content every week. See you next time, Space Cowboys!